Hi, this is Rabbi Chaim Kaufman. Welcome to our 246th installment in the Torah portion of the week. We are holding in Parshas Vayeitze. Vayeitze all about Yaakov and Rachel, and Rachel being switched for Leah, and all the children that Leah has, the maidservants have. Rachel is barren. The whole story with that, the idols, Jacob running away. There's a lot here to speak about. So the Torah tells us in book of Genesis chapter 30, the very beginning, Rachel saw that she had not borne children to Jacob, so Rachel became envious of her sister. And what does Rachel say to Jacob? Give me children, otherwise I am dead. And Yaakov gets angry, and he flared up at Rachel, and he said, am I instead of God, was withheld from you fruit of the womb? Now what's going on here? Right, simple explanation is that Leah's having all these kids. She's barren. And what does a woman desperately want at some point in her life? To have children. Natural children. Because the Gemara says that one of the people is considered dead. We learn out from here. Someone who's considered dead is someone who doesn't have children. So what do we see? We see that it's inherent in a woman to want to have kids. It's very strange and rare that a woman today, right, in this generation would say, I don't want to have kids at all. It's not a natural thing. Maybe some people are going to say it's more natural today than it's ever been, whatever. But in general, a woman wants to bear a child. At least have one. God forbid, maybe two. Whatever. But, a woman wants to have children. We see the anguish that the matriarchs had in having children. Sarah, Rivka, Rachel. So we understand, as Rabbeinu Bachai and others say, why did God make the matriarchs barren? Make them have difficulty having children? Because he loves the prayers of the righteous. What? God's a masochist? God forbid. Imagine what their prayers can do. Someone who desperately needs something. Like a mother wanting to have a child. Or a woman, wanting to have a child. So the obligation of having children is at least a boy and a girl. If a person has a boy and a girl, they fulfill their obligation. So there's an obvious question, right? And the question is, why do Orthodox Jews have so many kids? The average in most places is probably 6, 7 children. What's the deal? Raising kids costs a lot of money. It's a lot of aggravation involved. There's a lot of benefit also. There's a lot of enjoyment. But no one says it's easy. Nobody says it's easy. So what's the idea? So the Rambam tells us that even though a person's fulfilled the mitzvah being fruitful and multiplying, he's bound by rabbinic commandments not to refrain from being fruitful and multiplying, as long as he's physically potent. For anyone who adds a soul to the Jewish people, it's considered as if he built the entire world. Now, we have to look at what the words an entire world, actually mean. We mentioned children require a lot of parental resources. Right? No question. Now, according to the Rambam, the birth of a child is a creation of an entire world. So we're talking about potential. That each potential of a child, of a person, is valuable. Endlessly valuable. So what did God do? God creates the physical world. Right? He revealed himself in this world. Our goal is to draw close to him by doing Torah mitzvahs. So what do we do in the world? What do? We study Torah. We fulfill mitzvahs. We try and draw close to Him. And what's God's final purpose of creation is going to be through the coming of the Messiah. And that, with all the efforts that everyone's put in, then God's will is going to be fully revealed. And we'll be able to feel God's presence in this world. So now, that being said, each person, each individual plays an important role when it comes to creation. You need everybody. No one person can substitute for another, right? When it comes to reaching potential, as we mentioned many times, I can help someone reach their potential, but I can't, I don't have the same potential. A person has to try and reach their own potential, however it is. But each one has different potential. So if that's the case, I can't do what someone else is destined to do, or what their obligation is, what their message is for the world. Not everyone's the same, but collectively we all have a role, an important role over here to play. And God Himself certainly has an intrinsic value and a love that goes way beyond what we do. So in other words, when we look at each additional child, it's not just, they're their own world, they have their own purpose, and all that, but it's because of their infinite intrinsic value. Everybody has value, regardless of what anybody says. We all have potential. We can get beaten down alive. People can say we'll never amount to anything, we'll never be anything. Okay, sticks and stones. But the reality is everyone has an intrinsic purpose. We're all here for a reason. We may not fully understand the reason. That's okay. Right? But we're all here for a purpose. Right? So in short, what do we say? We're saying over here that each person has a purpose. So we also know that the Messiah cannot come until all the souls come out from God's heavenly throne. And that all children are born, all these souls come out. So some will say, this is my answer to the Holocaust, having more kids. But the reality is, each person has their own intrinsic value. Each person is their own world. So if they're their own worlds, we're building together. We're building by having children. We're building by having them reach their different potentials. But what will the naysayers say? The naysayers say I can have 2 kids. I can have 1. Right? The naysayers will say, you have 6, 7, 8 kids, not everyone's going to get the right attention. You're hurting them by giving them not enough attention. Now, parents have to know how to do that. How to make sure every kid feels like they get enough attention. Okay, but that a reason not to have kids? People say about the expense, also true. Especially being an Orthodox Jew, expenses are through the roof. No question about it. But what did the Rambam say? The Rambam said that you should try and continue to multiply as long as you physically can. Because if you add a soul to the Jewish people, you built an entire world. Now, most people want to have a remembrance in this world. That's why they want to have kids. They want to have someone after them. Maybe not too many. But they want to have a remembrance in this world. Which I can certainly understand. But you see, a person can have 1 or 2 kids and not give them enough attention. There's a catch-22. You're going to claim against us, we have so many kids, no one can give that much attention. Well, I don't think that's true. You have to work at it, it's not easy. But you can have people that don't give their kids any attention. Or very little attention, and they only have 2 kids. Or 1 child. So having kids is a big mitzvah. Tremendous mitzvah. Doesn't come without pain. Doesn't come without difficulty. But tremendously rewarding. Now, why would most people either want to have very few kids or maybe no kids? God forbid. Because like we always say, what do people want in this world? They want to kick back and they want to have pina coladas. And they want to enjoy life. Life is hard. You have to work. You have to make a living. Get all kinds of aggravation in this world. Everybody has it. Some more, some less. At the end of the day, you have so many kids, or at least more than one or two, it's inconvenient. Ties you down. It's hard. But what am I in the world for? Am I in the world just to sip pina coladas? Or is there a higher purpose? If there's a higher purpose, that's probably the answer. Right? We're here for a higher purpose. We're here to serve God, to do what He wants, to the best of our ability. Imagine as kids, and thank God, let's say they go in the right direction. They're there at the Shabbos table, saying words of Torah. They get married, have their own kids. You see, the family grows. Gets noisy. That's why God created earplugs. Right? You can get noisy, but imagine. Person has 5, 6, 7 kids. And they each have, a number of kids. You sit at the table like you're a king. Because you see everything that came out of you. And you see the continuation of the generation. Why? Because they're given over the same values. When you give over the same values, 95% of the time or higher, it works. It gets passed down. So when you see that, you say, wow, when the Torah works, it goes out of Shemaim, it goes up until heaven. When Torah doesn't work and there's intermarriage assimilation, it goes all the way to the ground. Nothing in between. So you're right, it can be noisy. It can be inconvenient. It can cost a lot of money. True. But what am I living for? Am I living for my desires? Just to be able to do what I want to do? Travel and this and that? What am I living for? What's my purpose in life? Did God speak on Mount Sinai or He didn't? And most people say, I don't care, I want to enjoy life. Now most people are probably going to have kids. Or if not, they probably will adopt. Or try to adopt. There will be people that don't want to have kids at all. And that's, for women, it's totally unnatural. I don't care what anyone says. Totally unnatural. A woman desires to have a child. And have their own child. Give birth themselves. Now, if they can't, they have to do it through a surrogate or something else. Okay, but even with the painship of, that's not even a word. Even with the pain of going through labor and childbirth, and then you see this little kid afterwards, everyone will say it's worth it. But no question. It's a continuation of us. But if every child is a mitzvah in of itself, it's a world in and of itself, and it's helping the world in general reach, its final destination, i.e. the coming of the Messiah. So we should be trying to have as many kids as we can in order to help reach that final potential. But see, man can be very selfish also. Man can say it's all about me. Because we said, the Mishnah Sanhedrin, Bishvili Nivra Olam. For me the world was created. So I want to do what I want to do. I don't want to be tied down. Someone told me many years ago, you're going to be in diapers for a long time. Well, I'm not in diapers anymore. My oldest is 10. Okay, I got grandkids smelling up the house. Okay. So what? I understand what they meant. They were kidding, whatever, but that's what we live for. We live to have that continuity in the next generation. At least that's what the Orthodox live for. And when you pass down the same values, and the kids come back and they bring their kids, and then their kids getting bar mitzvahed, and hopefully you're alive to see them get married, and have great grandkids. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable feeling. You're right. There's noise. There's mess. All kinds of things also. A lot of aggravation too. Not everything goes smooth. That's all life is. Right, but Rachel over here is saying, without kids, I'm nothing. Life's not worth living. And there are people out there who'd love to have kids. They can't. Or they waited too long. People out there, late 30s, early 40s, now they got problems. So society convinced them, see the world, have a career, this, that, they're worried about getting married. Biological clock ticks and they get screwed. Right? They get messed up. They get sucked into society. But see, when it works, and you see that it works, it's unbelievable. Now, could be, let's say a woman has a couple kids and has secondary infertility. They doesn't have another child for another 10 years. That's also hard. Where you see people having kid after kid after kid. So it can't be, I'm just having kids to keep up with everybody else. You have to see how much a woman can take. There are a lot of factors involved. To take a break or whatever. That's not the purpose of this video. But it's unbelievable joy. Anyone who's ever seen, a big family? The Shabbos table with everyone yelling and screaming, all chaos. That's what brings people closer to Torah. That's what melts them. Maybe the food also. But that's what melts them, because they see the kids are learning. They're talking about Torah. Everyone's involved. You're all trying to go in the same direction. Secular family, everyone's going in a million different directions. And most likely not a spiritual direction. So that family doesn't really stay together that well. They don't have really so much in common. Some more, some less. But the old adage goes, the family that prays together stays together. In general. Pretty amazing thing. See 4-year-old, 5-year-olds, come to synagogue, okay. Runs around, maybe, open our prayer book, close it, get a toffee for the candy man. Tremendous. Draw a picture, put up on the sukkah. They sit in the sukkah. I'm saying when things go in the right direction. That's worth millions. I remember someone told me many years ago, don't have so many kids. I said, okay. They had 4 at that time. Which one should I put back? Which one should we kill? Just tell me. Oh no, they're all beautiful. But you tell me I have too many. So which one should we kill over here? Yeah, they got the point. If you're so lucky to have such a beautiful family, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's work. I put everything on my wife. She's done a heck of a job. I try not to mess too many things up. But it's work. People just don't want to work in this world. People just want to have it easy. People just want to kick back and sip my pina colada. I don't want to be inconvenienced. That's not what life is. Real life is about hard work. Real life, it's about having a family and having same values and going in the same direction and seeing them grow up, have their own families, seeing their kids go in the same direction, hopefully. See, when you see that, then you see Torah works in such an unbelievable way. There can also be assimilation into marriage and it destroys the whole thing. And kids can go off the derech. it could be not religious. Definitely happens also. But in this case, the Torah is successful at least 95% of the time. It's not the Torah's fault, it's our fault. But we have at least a 95% success rate. Tremendous. We got a lot of hard work to do. And that's what life is. So we get the opportunity to build worlds. Help people reach their potential, bring the Messiah. Wouldn't everyone want to bring the Messiah? If you believe in the Messiah. And then we're all doing God's will. We'll all see miracles, greater miracles than what happened in Egypt. It's a lot of work to be done. It's a lot of potential to be reached. And we have to put our best foot forward and do that. And that's how we reach our potential, help others as well. So, I want to remind everyone, I give a class every Tuesday, Duties of Heart, the Gate of Self-Accounting. That's every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Sunday, Pack Day, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 o'clock Israel Time. Book of Leviticus chapter 15. Then there's Tanakh Talk, 12:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Israel Time, controversial issues. Then 2:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 Israel Time, No-Hide Nations, doing No-Hide laws. And then Tuesday and Thursday I have 2 Q&As, 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Israel Time. And Saturday, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 o'clock Israel Time, Pirkei Avos. I also have conversion classes. Anyone interested in any of these things, find me on Facebook at Michael Chaim Kaufman or Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism. You can send me an email, rabbichaimkaufman@gmail.com, RABBICHAIMCOFFMAN @gmail.com.